We have a couple options when it comes to adding custom fields. One of them, as we learned in a previous lesson, is that we can simply add custom fields to the supports array. And now, if I scroll down to the bottom, you'll see this option, and the user could add movie length and insert the value like so. This is definitely one way to go. However, I think it's better to be much more specific and not force the user to know what the movie length should be. So with that in mind, we're going to work with custom meta boxes. To do so, we'll come down to the bottom and we'll create a new method called meta boxes. Now to add a meta box, we need to hook into an action. And this action is called, conveniently, add meta boxes. The second parameter, as always, is going to be a callback function that handles what should happen. In this case, we want to add a new meta box to the post type. And this is going to accept a handful of parameters. The first one is going to be a CSS ID. The next one is going to be the title of the meta box. The third parameter is going to be a callback function to run. The fourth parameter is going to be the page or the post type that it's associated with. Otherwise, it would never know where to be displayed. The fifth parameter is going to be the priority level. And the final one, both of these being optional by the way, will be the callback function arguments to pass. That's definitely a mouthful. So let's get started. We'll give it a CSS ID. I'll give it my prefix to make sure it's unique and do JW movie length. What will be the title of this? Movie length. And that's going to be the heading the user sees within the post box. As you can see, excerpt custom fields. So I will do movie length. What is the callback function to run? We'll keep that local and call it movie length. And finally, what page should it be associated with? And we call that JW movie. Let's save that and now create this function movie length. Function movie length. This will automatically receive the post information. And with HTML, we will create our form. I'll wrap it in with paragraph tags for convenience and create a label. And we'll make it for the ID that we specified right here. And we'll say length. Next, I will create an input for the user to type in the value. We'll give it a class of wide fat to make sure it takes up all available space. Give it a name. And we'll also set the ID to the same value. The last step is to set a default value. For now, we're going to leave it blank. Let's save that and come back and refresh the page. Let's save that and now call our new method name. And again, we can call it from up here. Let's save that, come back to our dashboard, refresh the page, and if I scroll down to the bottom, you now see that we have a custom meta box. Very helpful. And because we are doing it this way, we no longer require support for custom fields. So I will come down and make sure that I comment that out. Update. If I scroll back down, it's empty again. So we need to write the functionality that will save this information and display it in the text box. We can do it right after this function, and we'll call add action, save post. And when a post is saved, we want to make sure that we update this meta information. But first, we should specify whether anything was entered here in the first place. If it was, it'll be made available via the post superglobal array. So now we can say if is set post JW movie length. If some value was entered, then we need to update the post information. And we can do that by writing update post meta. First, it needs to know what the ID is. That'll be available to us because it's passed into the action. Next, it wants to know the key to edit. We called it JW movie length. And the third parameter is going to be what is the new value. We're going to call strip tags to make sure no tags are entered. And then we'll pass that again. Now, when we insert a value, save it, this post information will be updated. But now we need to display it in the text box. We'll create a new variable called length and say get post meta. And we're going to try to grab something if it's available. It needs to know the ID. That's available via the ID property. Next, what is the key? JW movie length. And the third parameter is going to be a Boolean. Should we return a single value or an array of value? In this case, we only want a single value. We will return true. And now I can simply echo out that value. I will run it through escape attributes just to make sure that there's no issues there. It's a good practice. And we'll pass in length. Now I will save it and come back and test it out. Insert a value, 2 hours and 4 seconds. Update. And now if I scroll down, can you see that that has been saved and is now available to us? And there we are. With surprisingly limited work, we now have a tailor-made custom post type for our movie database. We can add movies, add excerpts, specify a thumbnail for the movie, specify the genre, add an option for the movie length, set the studio. It's really quite impressive. So in the final lesson, I'm going to show you how to work with this data.